What's going on, everybody? It's Neil from 2AF. Haven't done one of these in a while, so let's get into it. This is kind of a two-parter. Weird things about the gun industry. Part 21. Flat dark earth, tan, coyote, desert dark color, RAL 8000. What is up with all of the tan colors in our industry, right? So, I get it. It's kind of hard, like Geissele puts it out with their DDC. There's about 7,000 warnings everywhere saying, hey, look, if you get something that's DDC, it might be a different color. I get that, I don't know how or why, but I get that anodizing different metals it's hard to get the same finish. But right, with plastics, I don't know, is it that hard? We have, here's B5 Systems, Flat Dark Earth, and Ergo Grips, Flat Dark Earth, and, here's BCM's Flat Dark Earth, and I would say probably all three of them are different colors, and then there's Coyote, right? So there's B5 Systems Coyote, and I guess, this isn't exactly Coyote, but Magpul is medium Coyote tan. And then Glock, their frames, they have the Coyote, and, they're all a little bit different. And then if you get a Flat Dark Earth, this is Midwest Industries, this is a Flat Dark Earth anodized piece. That's not going to be the same color as a plastic Flat Dark Earth piece. And, then there's Daniel Defense. This is their Flat Dark Earth. I mean, that's nowhere near this color. And, the Vortex Razors, that comes in a brown color or a tan color. And there's the Badger Ordnance Condition 1 mount. That doesn't even come close to matching. I guess the Vortex kind of brown matches the Daniel Defense brown. And I guess Reptilia came out with Field Drab, and maybe that kind of comes close to matching. I don't know. And, DFCO, that's their Flat Dark Earth. That's their Tiger Claw, which doesn't really match the Ergo or the BCM. So we got all these different tan colors. And so that's a little weird. But here's the part two, which I think is even weirder, is why does it matter? I literally have seen customers hold Magpul and, another company next to one another and be like, no, that's not close enough. And they don't get it, right? Like, don't worry about it if it doesn't match that much. I get it. Listen, it's your gun. First and foremost, you don't have to have a reason for anything. You don't got to explain to me or anybody else why you want it the way you want it. If you want it some way, this is America, you can have it that way. But man, for me, I don't know. It doesn't matter that much. Like, I think this gun with this stock and maybe this scope, so what if it doesn't all match? I think it looks pretty good still. And finally, let's get into, here's the third thing. So maybe a part 3 to this, right? So I've seen people, if they have if they get something tan for their gun, all of a sudden they'll go and they'll get everything tan. Like, they'll buy a piece that they didn't even want for their gun just because it comes in tan. And, I don't know. I don't really get that. Again, you don't have to explain to me, but don't feel like you have to get everything in tan. Sometimes just a couple things in tan kind of looks cool to some people like me. If you have like a couple of tan pieces on there, that looks pretty good. It just kind of breaks it up a little bit and it's not all one color. But you want it to be all one color, go ahead and do what you want. These are all just kind of things that I think are a little bit weird. We have so many different color tans, and, none of them seem to match one another perfectly, which isn't a big deal, So don't worry if it matches too much. And if you do have a little bit tan, don't think you have to get everything tan or green or gray or whatever the color is. So, man, that's all I got for you today. Weird things about the gun industry. Why is there so many different tans? Why do people have to feel like sometimes they all have to match? And if they do have a little bit of tan, why do they have to make everything tan? I have no idea.